Hi, this is Dr. Julie Gilbert coming to you with a special edition of Nutrition 101. And the reason I say this is a special edition is because I am coming to you from Oklahoma City. So lots of, anyway, I'll explain all that. But Rachel will join us here in just a minute or so. But we're excited to continue our conversation about Michael Pollan's book, Food Rules. And we've been having a very engaging, exciting, I think, fun conversation. I love talking about food. Food that's nourishing our bodies and keeping us strong and healthy and giving us longevity and giving us that life that we want to live. So Rachel will be joining us here in just a minute or so, hopefully. But in the meantime, we're going to pick up where we left off on chapter 14. Oh, here's Rachel. Yay. Here she is. Ta-da, we made it. Hi, Rachel.
I made it. That was
awesome.
Technical struggle bus. I don't know what happened, but everything went wrong. But here I am.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. I'm so excited to see you today. We just got started, and I was telling them this is a special edition because we are here live from Oklahoma City. Not New York City, but Oklahoma City. And so I'm traveling for reasons, related to health. And I was thinking, when you travel, it's so hard to stay on track unless you're just super motivated and focused and maybe think ahead and do some pre-planning. And so this chapter, I was going to see how well my husband and I are doing to keep up our health choices and healthy habits while we're away from home. So that's always a challenge, isn't it?
Totally a challenge. Yes. I think that traveling and the holidays are two of the biggest struggles in our normal, because when we're in normal life with a normal routine, that's where we shine. That's where we thrive. And that's what we've created life for. Travel, we don't think about creating health around travel. Same thing with holidays. They kind of come at us kind of out of nowhere, and then we're not prepared. So these are big areas.
Right. Yeah. So, all right, well, let's jump into our chapter,
okay.
And Michael Pollan's Food Rules. And I believe we're on chapter 14, Rachel. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
That's right. Eat foods made from ingredients that you can picture in their raw state or growing in nature.
Yeah, and you might as well just read the whole chapter right there. Do you mind?
Not at all, of course. Read the ingredients on a package of Twinkies or Pringles and imagine what those ingredients actually look like raw or in the places where they originally grew. You can't do it. This rule will keep all sorts of chemicals and food-like substances out of your diet.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a package of Twinkies nearby, do you?
I don't. I'm fresh out of Twinkies. They're on my grocery list.
That's good.
But I do have some other things. Do you want me to start going through a few of them?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, I brought some of my pantry items up to my office. I had to dig to the back. I knew I had some old canned items that I was actually going to wait for the next food drive because I know I don't eat these anymore, but they're expired. So I need to throw them away, actually. But I'm glad they were back there. So one of them, and this is really apropos because I made, well, I'll tell you in a minute. I'm gonna wait to tell you what I did, but tomato soup, okay? Everybody thinks of Campbell's as being wholesome. Tomato soup, we all know this package, right? We all know this label. I'm sure it's filled with lots
Americana.
of Americana. Yeah, this is fuzzy, warm feelings of probably grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup. Okay, do you know what the heck is in here? I need my spectacles for this. Written really tiny. Okay, the first one is tomato puree, water, and tomato paste. These are things we know where they grow, right? Tomatoes grow in the ground. Yeah. They have to make a paste out of it. Water, we know what water is. The second ingredient, y'all, since you're in Oklahoma, I threw that out for you. The second ingredient is high fructose corn syrup in soup. That's sugar. Oh, you're frozen. That was awesome.
Why?
Why is sugar? And I don't even really, I mean, what is high fructose corn syrup? I know what corn is, and I know what
Mm-hmm.
syrup is. My
Mm-hmm.
normal brain doesn't know what high fructose is. I mean, like,
Right.
it's a
Yeah.
product. Does it
Right.
grow in the ground?
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. It's definitely a chemical a process that is put on corn, and they take the sugar part of the corn out, the dextrose, and they reconfigure it, the molecules, to be a higher percentage of fructose than glucose. So yeah, you can't picture high fructose corn syrup,
No.
right, in a raw state, because it doesn't exist.
Right, right. So I love, that food-like substance. We have to remember these are highly processed
Mm-hmm.
food-like substances. Someone in the science lab somewhere made a lot of money designing this. It's not real.
Right.
But it's become common, and that's where I feel like it's really tricky for people. It seems so common and so safe and normal that this is just what everybody does, and it's on every label, so
Mm-hmm.
it must be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Let me read. There's a
Mm-hmm.
couple more here that I think we're going to care about here.
Okay.
Wheat flour. What's wheat flour? What do we know about that?
Well, it comes from a wheat plant. I can picture a wheat, plant stalk coming out of the ground. I can picture that. But what happened to that before it got into your can of soup?
Right. Right. If I'm picturing a grandmother or somebody on the wild frontier taking wheat out of the field and smashing it with a mortar and pestle, that's going to be the most natural form, but I don't know what they did to this. Right. So maybe it's not terrible, but maybe it is. We don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Water, and then it goes into some potassium chloride, and sea salt and citric acid. What's citric
Mm-hmm.
acid?
Vitamin C, I believe.
Yeah, so we can imagine, I mean, supplements, vitamins, when they're not in the natural food state, have been manufactured as a
Mm-hmm.
supplement. So better to eat an orange than to take a vitamin C tablet, but not terrible, not bad for you.
Right.
Vitamin,
Right.
right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What else do you
So
have there?
here's the better option, and I'm just so proud of this. So this is why I'm telling you. This weekend I picked a ton of my friends' tomatoes and a ton of mine and bell peppers, and I made my own tomato soup. Whoops, where is it? Okay. This is homemade tomato soup. So what I did is I
Wow.
roasted tomatoes and bell peppers in the oven with a little olive oil, salt, pepper. That's it. Blended it up in my Vitamix with some homemade veggie broth that I made, but you could use water or store-bought veggie broth that's just vegetables, right? And then I threw in some tofu, and it's cheesy and
Ooh.
creamy. So this is a
Ooh.
very high protein, creamy, cheesy soup. That's it. I know everything that's in it, and most of it grew in my backyard. So that feels really great. And I made a ton of it so I can freeze it, and I can share it. And, that's not something I'm going to be able to do all the time, but that felt pretty good to make my own.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Good job, Rachel.
Yeah, that's what's for dinner too, by the way.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay,
Sounds
here's
good.
a canned product that we can feel better about, right?
Okay. Yeah, chickpeas.
Chickpeas. What's in here? Organic garbanzo beans.
Yay.
Yeah. We know, I don't know actually what they look like when they grow, but I know that they grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're in a pod, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Water and sea salt. That's it.
Yeah.
Feels pretty good.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. What else?
Now here's one that I don't really eat much, but this is my daughter's cereal.
Grape nuts. Okay.
Okay. So grape nuts, we feel like it's healthier than,
That commercial with that old guy. What was his? Do you remember that?
I don't remember.
Commercial. Oh my God. commercial with the grape nuts. Who was the grape nuts guy? And yeah, it'll pop in my head at like 3:00 this morning.
Yeah, I can't think of who it is. But one of the things we have talked about is how they label things, right? Excellent source of fiber. 100% of your daily whole grain recommendations, and it's non-GMO. Okay, but do we believe that? So let's look at the ingredients. Whole grain wheat flour. We talked about that.
Picture that.
Malted barley flour. So barley also grows out of the ground. Malted. I don't know what malted
barley.
Do you know what malted means?
Not sure what malted. Does that mean sugared? Sugared barley, I think. Malted. Whenever I see malt, I think sweet sugar.
Okay. Salt and dried yeast. So for a cereal, there's no added high fructose corn syrup. There's no crazy other ingredients. So what do we give this? What do we feel about grape nut?
Well, does it pass my carb fiber ratio? Look at what's the total carb and tell me how many fibers are in there.
Great question. Total carbs, 47. Dietary fiber, 7.
7. Okay, so I always divide 47 divided by 7. 7 times 6 is 42. So, so it's 6 plus, right?
Yeah.
So, and I like to say 6 or under. So it's right in there. So it tells me that it actually probably truly is a whole grain. It's just when they add that malted barley that sweetened it up a bit. And so it increased the carbohydrate, but it didn't increase the fiber. So, so I'm going to say neutral on grape nuts.
Yeah, it feels like, there's 6 grams of protein. There are no added sugars. So that's nice to know.
Yeah.
No added sugars. So, okay. And then the last one that I have here is my husband went to the grocery store this weekend, tried to find a healthier cracker than a Triscuit. Looks like he got a bargain for it here. These say natural and they say plant-based. So Harvest whole wheat crackers. Simply delicious, simple, good food, non-GMO, organic, yada, yada. Okay, let's take a look at the backside. Whole grain wheat. So there we are again. There are 3 ingredients. I like this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Only 3. So that's less than 5.
Right. Yeah, that's our less than 5. Okay. Whole grain wheat. The second one is safflower oil. How do you feel about safflower oil?
Yeah. Processed.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. That's what, when I first saw these in my pantry, I was like, oh, this is great. 3 ingredients. And then I looked closer and I saw safflower oil. Now, why is safflower oil different than olive oil?
Well, once it's taken out of its food, because you can think of a safflower seed, but once it's extracted, and it's usually extracted at a very high temperature, then that oil becomes very unstable. And it's actually, when it's extracted, it's actually rancid oil. It stinks. Then and then they have to use chemicals to deodorize that, and before they put it in a bottle and place it on a shelf for human consumption. So there's a big chemical process to get this oil out of the seed, and then now if you ate the seed and you took the oil out yourself, different story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And where olive oil, they're pressing olives. They're not extracting the oil. Yes. I appreciate that that description, because I think for so many of us, we think it's just an oil. Why is this, it's not it doesn't seem to be a highly processed thing, but it actually is. The third ingredient is just sea salt. So it falls under the 5 ingredients, like you said. It's got a 20 total carbohydrate and 3 dietary fiber. So with, what do we have? No added sugars. So that's good. But it's above the 6, your level of 6, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can't remember if Triscuits are a little bit better. Crackers are tricky, though. I get asked all
They
the time.
are.
Well,
Have
Rachel,
you
what
ever made your own cracker? Have you ever made your own cracker? So it's really not that hard. So I use almond flour.
Okay.
I use probably avocado or olive oil and a little water and then salt. And I mix it up with my KitchenAid, and then I put it in between. It can't be too sticky. You got to get the right amount. Then I put that ball in between parchment paper, and I press it out until it's nice and thin and flat. And then I score it with a pizza cutter, so it's scored, into little squares. And then I put that in the oven at like 200 degrees, for us, and until it's nice and crispy. And then because you've scored it, they break easily. And then if you want to put a little extra sea salt on the top of that, so it's really not that hard. And then there's your 3 ingredients, or 4 maybe. So almond flour, which you can picture, the olive oil, the salt, a little bit of water, and that's it. Yeah. So, and it really doesn't take a lot of time. I mean, you might have to experiment with the amount of water or oil or whatever, but it's really not too bad. Rachel, I want to put myself on the spot and look so we're staying in this, it's actually not that expensive. We're staying in this suite that has a little kitchenette, so rather than on our little travel, rather than stay in a hotel that might have been $20 less expensive a day, we chose a suite that has a little kitchenette. So we don't have to eat out. We haven't eaten out at all since we've been on our little trip. So we've saved the money, because it's always expensive to eat out, I think, especially if you're trying to not eat fast food out, right?
Right.
But so we spent a little bit more money. We have a kitchenette, and then I was able to go to the grocery store. I dialed in Whole Foods or Natural Grocers or Trader Joe's, one of my favorites. They actually have a place called Sprouts around here. And let's see what I got in my fridge.
Okay. Let's come along.
All right, here we go. Yeah. All right, here we go. All right. I have, let's see, spring mix. Actually, my sister-in-law visited me. She brought some tomatoes and peppers from her garden. So, also, and we got some fermented sauerkraut. And let's see here. We bought some eggs, because there's a little 2-burner stove here, so we can fry up some eggs. And then I got some, I did an easy, bago salad here.
Yes.
So, and I have an avocado. I did buy some organic cheese here. And, yeah. And let's see here. There's my avocado. And I did buy 2 things in a package. So let's see if they pass the test. I'm putting myself on the spot here.
I love it.
So I'm going to read the ingredients. So this is a little sprouted bread. And it has organic sprouted whole wheat. It's sweetened with raisin nectar, which they explain is raisins and water. So I suppose they soaked a little sweetness out of the raisin and add it to the bread. It has wheat gluten. So they've added more gluten, which is the protein part of the wheat, right? I think. Organic sesame seeds, organic sunflower seeds. So it's not the oil, it's the seed. And then they have cultured wheat with yeast, water, and sea salt.
Wow.
So it has more than the 5 ingredients, but I think I can picture all of those in its raw form. So I passed that test. Now, here's
chips.
my other. My husband asked for these. All right, let's see.
Under the butt?
I got a little pressure to buy a chip. Okay, so here we go. cassava flour. I
Hmm.
know what cassava is because I've been to Africa. They eat cassava, so I can picture that raw.
Oh, nice.
Avocado oil, passive, coconut flour, or up to 3, chia seed, sea salt, citric acid, which is our vitamin C, and lime. So, and let's see the carb fiber ratio, 19 carbs and 3 fibers. 19 divided by 3 is 6 and a little change. So not terrible.
Not terrible.
So anyway, so yeah, it is a challenge to travel and eat healthy, but with a little bit of planning. Of course, I always put pressure on myself because I want to practice what I preach, you know. But with a little planning,
Yeah.
you can make it work. You don't have to be 100%, but yeah, yeah. And I love the picture it raw. Picture it
Mm-hmm.
raw. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see where it grew or how it came into being?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to make dinner with I'm going to make some sort of salad for dinner. Maybe I'll hard boil some eggs as our protein. But it looks like I have good vegetables, healthy fat in there, some protein, and we didn't fall off the wagon too much, even with our little chip. Yeah.
Nicely done.
So.
You did a great job, and I'm sure you feel better.
All
And
right. All right. It looks like we're out of time, Rachel, but thanks so much for joining us, and we'll tune in next time.
sounds good. Bye, everybody.